It's Charlotte, and it's raining. Could be a long weekend. We're over here at DEI. No, this isn't the Garage Mahal behind me. This is DEI West. This is DEI East. This is where the stuff's being done right now. They got one heck of a place in here. Huge, 200,000 square feet. And they've got some power too. They got some horsepower. They could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 at Talladega on Sunday. It depends on how well they do this Saturday at Charlotte as to whether they get enough sponsorship for all these guys to run next year. Regan Smith looked tough down there. Eric Amarola looked tough down there. So did Paul Menard. I think it's going to be a good weekend at Charlotte for these guys. They've got a lot going for them, and they got a lot of pressure on them too. Let's go talk to Bobby Hutchens, the competition director, the new competition director, coming down from Richard Childress's. And then let's talk to John Story, the guy who's in charge of making sure they've got the money to run this thing.
That would think you'd turn it upside down walking in the door, but when you walk in here, you realize what's here. It just needed a little rubbing in some areas. It needs some processes in some areas. It just needs somebody cared about it to sit down with the guys and say, hey, what do we need to do? What do we need to work on? As I mentioned earlier, I look at it as changing the culture just a little bit, and that's just the mindset of, hey, that we can do this with what we got. You know, we've got good stuff. Let's go out, we'll work on it, and we'll show these people that what we're made of. And I think for the most part, everybody here, there's not anybody that's told me no on anything that I've asked. Sure, there's a lot of things that I'd like to change going forward that are on my priority list, but right now our number one priority is trying to find sponsors, and I've probably spent more time on that than I'd care to even let anybody know. But, you know, I need to be out working on the cars, but right now our survival is gaining some sponsorship for these 3 cars.
And you need one more driver.
We need one more driver. I feel like we've got a pretty good foothold on a guy that I feel that can get the job done here for that. And well, like I say, we're just out in the sponsor world right now.
And how important is Charlotte and Atlanta, for example,
for this team? They're important tracks for us. I mean, I hope we can keep the momentum that we've had the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that we can show people that we can race week in and week out with anybody, and our cars are competitive. We've done the super speedway thing. We've done the mile track at Dover, and we're good. Feel like we were good at Kansas, so we've been pretty good everywhere. Martin, how he finished 5th at the road course race back at Watkins Glen right before I came here. So, I mean, it's all there. We just gotta believe it's there and continue to work on the areas that we feel like that we might be weak in, and improve the areas that we feel we're good in, and gain a couple sponsorships here, and I think the world will be round.
John Story. Now, you just had a hell of a run at Talladega. You could have gone 1, 2, 3. You might have won the race. You probably won the race. From the emails I'm getting, you did win the race.
Right.
Now you're trying to follow that up, and you're trying to get sponsorship and another driver. Tell me what the state of affairs is right now at DEI.
Well, it's actually we've had some bad runs for sure, bad luck, if you will, from a sponsorship perspective with Menards and the Army, and so it could be, you could look at it as doom and gloom, but we're trying to look at it from a positive standpoint in that we've got 4 teams that run well virtually every week, and we know that with the right drivers and the right cars that this is probably one of the best properties in NASCAR right now, and we're very proud of that. We've got 4 cars in the top 35 in points, which very few teams can say.
Which means you're in the Daytona 500 next year.
We have 4 teams in the Daytona 500. We're going to finish the season with 4 teams, and all 4 of them being top 35. So it's a great accomplishment. It says a lot for the people that work here. It says a lot for our engine program and this joint venture that we now have with RCR and the ECR engine program. We're actually trying to look at it from a positive standpoint. Know this is a good, safe place for sponsors to do business. It's a bad economy for sure. And we're just working as hard as we can to be that company that people want to come to. And I think our performance on the racetrack is saying a lot about us.
Yeah, since Bobby Hutchens came over here, maybe in one man it's not going to change things, but I could tell the chemistry changed. When I started talking to Eric Amarola at Bristol, you could just sort of tell that Martin Truex Jr.'s personality had changed a little bit. There was more of an upbeat atmosphere, but there was an edge before that, sort of a down thing. And I could tell things were changing, and it's got to be morale. I mean, I just went through your shop. That is a huge shop. How many square feet do you have here? How many engineers? This is big.
Right about 200,000 square feet of shop space. We have everything here at this facility except for our powertrain and engine shop. We do everything else in-house. A great facility. It's not the newest building in the industry, but it is a functional race shop. I mean, all we do here out of this building is race. There's no bells and whistles, no flash. It is a working man's race shop, and we do a darn good job here.
No artwork on the wall, I noticed. You probably need some championships or something like that, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is your deadline for finding? You've got to find a driver and crew chief. So, what kind of
Well,
deadlines?
we don't have a deadline. We haven't put a self-imposed deadline on it. I think if we do that, then, if the deadline has to change, then we've got to either change the deadline or fold our tent, and we're not willing to fold our tent. We're going to work as hard as we can all the way up to the moment. And that moment for me is the Daytona 500. I mean, we've got some time. Clearly, we've got to make some progress, and we've got to have some good things go our way. But we don't want to put any deadlines on ourselves. So it's going to take a while. There's a lot of work to be done. We've got a lot of good things happening right now. Hopefully, with any luck and knock on wood, we're going to have some of those good things happen for us.
And that's the story from DEI, the new DEI, on the rebound. Mike Mulhern for the Winston-Salem Journal, journalnow.com.